Doctor Sleep. Is it a worthy sequel to The Shining? Is it worth your time to check out this weekend? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Doctor Sleep. So is it worth your time to check out this weekend? If you like The Shining, I think it is worth your time. I like this. I'm not in love with that movie, but I like the movie. So I was curious to see where this one went. And if you're like me and you're just curious, what are they going to do with Dan Torrance when he grows up? Where's this going to go? I think it's worth checking out. I'm going to give this movie a solid B. It's the same grade that I gave the first one. I don't really feel like I have to own either of these movies, and I'm not a huge hurry to rush out and see it again, but I will say I was entertained from the very beginning of this movie to the very end. It did this interesting combination of nostalgia horror for me, especially those scenes as you see it in the trailer as Dan Torrance is walking through the Overlook. Oh yes, I know this setting so well. So it was this interesting feeling of nostalgia, but this intensity of, okay, what's going to happen when you turn that corner? Are the girls going to be there? What's going to happen when you turn that corner? So it was really kind of interesting the way they were able to do that. So the overall pacing of this movie, I thought, was a lot faster than the original one. So the first Shining takes place in one hotel, the Overlook, between three characters. And the pacing is slow because it's about the build between these characters as Jack Nicholson descends into madness and all kinds of other crazy things happening. This one, I feel like it does still start a little slow, but something about the pacing kind of automatically picks up because it's not just one setting anymore, and it's not just a set of three characters. In fact, a part of it kind of had a superhero feel for me. Not a big deal superhero feel, but just because as we're exploring The Shining and adding to the lore of this actual gift called The Shining, we're seeing different flavors of it, different people with slightly different abilities that's based in The Shining. So it's kind of interesting to kind of travel around and see other people in the world with this ability. And then, of course, you have Rose the Hat, played by Rebecca Ferguson, and her gypsy troupe of shining vampires. These villains that literally live off The Shining and, eat The Shining out of people. It is, the weirdest thing, and it just reminded me so much of vampires. I think it was kind of a good villain set, and I think Rebecca Ferguson was a pretty good villain. But when you throw that into the mix, automatically the pacing does pick up. I think there's more happening in this movie for sure than in the other one, but it still does a good job being pretty intense. And what I liked about it was the musical score brought that feel back of The Shining. So even though more was happening, the pacing got picked up, the musical score and other things going on brought this feeling of nostalgia horror together for this movie. The characters were done really well. Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance did a great job showing this kid now all grown up. Interesting choice that Dan Torrance fell into this generational curse that his father had, and watching him work to beat that and work to overcome. And it added these layers to his character. And so watching as he's developed in his gift with The Shining and kind of how powerful he's become with it. Our new character, Abra, who we're kind of following throughout this movie, she's our lead character who has this incredible gift. She was an interesting mix into it. There are parts, though, where I feel like her character was a little overconfident, where if I was in that situation, just as powerful as her, I think I would still be sweating just a little bit. One scene in particular where it felt like the overconfidence kind of took me out a little bit, but it wasn't anything that bad. I thought overall as an actress, she did a great job as her character, and her character did kind of bring us to that next level with The Shining. And Rebecca Ferguson, I already talked about her. She was a pretty good vampirist bad guy. I thought she was pretty good in the role. If she was meant to be super scary, she wasn't. She was more intense than scary and flippin' evil. And the Overlook. The Overlook was actually a character in this. And what's interesting about bringing the Overlook in and the way they explain the Overlook Hotel, it actually helped me understand maybe some things that I think I missed in the first movie. That I think now that I look back, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, that was there. But it was interesting to have it clarified a little bit in this movie and kind of understand kind of a little bit about the Overlook and how all of that worked. And I was like, okay, that was interesting. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that clarification. Though while I was watching the movie, this really kept popping into my mind. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. And the same way, let your light shine before others. I didn't just think about that because, it's called the gift is called The Shining. No, I was thinking about that because it's interesting where this plot goes with that storyline of, do you shine or do you hide it? But then it's interesting because you do shine, and you really think the devil in our world is going to sit back and let that happen? No. He roars like a lion seeking who he could devour, which is exactly what Rose the Hat is doing. She's roaring like a lion, she's hungry, and she's seeking who she can devour. So as the spiritual warfare kicks up in this movie, it reminds me of this one. Therefore, put on every piece of God's armor so you will be able to resist the enemy in the time of evil. Then after the battle, you will be standing firm. Once you see the movie, you'll have to let me know if you saw those verses come into play. I'd be curious about that in the comments. And right now, B. Solid B. If you saw this movie, what did you think? Let's talk in the comments below, and while you're there, hit that subscribe button to become a Durbanian and hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified the next time I drop a movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.